Kurtis Riggs Show. Kurtis Riggs, the head coach of the 10-time champions of the Indoor Football League, the Sioux Falls Storm. The Kurtis Riggs Show being brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute. It's the Kurtis Riggs Show on 98.1, 1230, Sports Radio KWSN. Here's your host for the Kurtis Riggs Show, the Silver Fox, Rich Rosti.
And good afternoon. And hi, everybody. I'm Rich Rosti, and welcome to the Kurtis Riggs Show. And coming up on the show, we'll be talking to the head coach, Kurtis Riggs, about the game last week around the IFL. And we'll also talk about the Storm win down in Cedar Rapids, 46-21. Then we'll also talk about the game coming up this Saturday as the Sioux Falls Storm are going to be hosting the Green Bay Blizzard. And that ball game is going to be at the Denny Sanford Premier Center at 7 o'clock. And you hear the game right here on KWSN. Guests on the show tonight are Elijah Fields, Melvin German, and Jim Loria. Then later on the show, we'll be giving away 12 free tickets to the Storm's next home game. That's on Saturday, April 15th. And also we'll get Coach's scouting report of the Green Bay Blizzard. Now, the Kurtis Riggs Show is proudly presented each week by the official Storm medicine providers, Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital, the Storm official healthcare team, and the only 5-star rated hospital in Sioux Falls. Then also by Orthopedic Institute, the one to trust. Coming up next is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtis Riggs, and you're listening to it right here on 98.1, 1230, Sports Radio, KWSN.
Moms.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. We keep you moving.
If you like to bowl, roll on into Eastway Bowl. Hey, wait a minute. Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full of fun entertainment center. There's many things to do. Games, and more games, plus food. Great food. Come into our full-service sports bar and grill where you'll find and a full fun experience. Eastway Bowl and Entertainment Center, where there's something for everyone.
As the weather changes, so do your plans for the hour, the day, and the week. You can expect the KSFY Severe Weather Team to bring you the most accurate forecasts, giving you early warnings when the weather gets rough and how long the storms last. With over 50 years of combined experience, you can expect more with the KSFY Severe Weather Team.
Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230, Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtis Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. Is brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. They deliver anywhere in Sioux Falls and are just breader. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtis Riggs. And, Coach, it was an interesting week around the IFL, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be that case every week.
We'll run through the games rather quickly and talk a little bit about them. But Arizona was 2-3, and they went to visit Nebraska Danger 4-2, and the Rattlers wound up with a win 39-36. Tell us about that game, what you know about it anyway.
Well, Arizona's made things very interesting on that side of in that division. Nebraska goes and beats Spokane at Spokane, and then comes home, and Arizona goes there and beats them. And, plays Wichita Falls right down to the wire also. They're playing a very physical style of football. And, you knew it was only a matter of time with the athletes they had adjusting to the style of play, and they seem to be doing that very well now.
Yeah, now Arizona's 3-3 on the year. Nebraska falls down to 4-2. And then you talk about tight ball games. Iowa Barnstormers host the Green Bay Blizzard. Iowa 3-2 in the year, and Green Bay was 2-4, and that one wound up going down to the wire with Iowa Barnstormers defeating the Green Bay Blizzard 27-26.
And that seems to be the case with every Green Bay game. Every game they've played has been a battle, and it's been I'm pretty sure just about everyone's been 6 points or less, and on their losses, and so you just hope that this isn't the week that they're able to overcome that obstacle.
No doubt about it. And then the game that was really the most interesting to me was the 1-4 Salt Lake Screaming Eagles went down to Wichita Falls, Texas, to take on the Nighthawks. And the Nighthawks escaped with a win, 39-33. Wichita Falls was 5-1 at the time. Salt Lake Screaming Eagles were 1-4, but that was a wild contest down in Texas, wasn't it?
Yeah, low scoring too. And Salt Lake, just like Arizona had against Wichita, had the ball with about 3 minutes left, and were in really good field position and with the lead. And they weren't able to close the game out. Wichita was able to find a way to prevail. And it would have been nice to get Salt Lake to get a win and Green Bay to get a win over Iowa in our division. But, Wichita finds a way to win again, and that's what good teams do.
That's a very good point. I wanted to talk about that. Good teams find a way to win. And that is the key to it, because you can play ugly sometimes, and the other team really is hot. But for teams to find ways to win, that is the mark of a champion, or at least a very successful franchise.
It is, yeah. And, especially I think Arizona, you lose a heartbreaker at home to come back and get that win at Nebraska. I think Nebraska's playing very good football right now. I thought they played very well against us. I thought that was an impressive win. And then you look, even Salt Lake, going to Wichita, everyone expected that to be a complete blowout, and they play Wichita right down to the final wire. Now,
when a franchise team goes to an away game, do the fans still call the plays?
I am the worst person to ask about how any of that stuff is ran. I would have no idea. I don't even know if they're still actually doing it, or I don't know how that's going, if the coach is really calling the plays at the fans. I mean, I thought, as I watched, is he really calling the play? And I think sometimes it's really hard to tell, because their quarterback is so athletic that he'll just run around and create, and you don't know if the routes are really being run that were called or what. But I don't know on the road or at home if they really are doing it, Rich.
Well, it's an interesting concept. Unfortunately for the Sioux Falls Storm, we do not play against Salt Lake this season, and we do not travel down to Arizona to play the Rattlers down there. It's part of the travel situation. We don't go out to Spokane either. But we will be playing against Colorado out there, and they are a part of that franchise also. So we'll see how that all plays out. Some interesting games coming up this weekend, Coach. We got Cedar Rapids down in Wichita Falls. Arizona is going to be at Salt Lake, and that, I think, is going to be an interesting game. Colorado's at Spokane. And Nebraska, the game that I was really kind of interested about, Nebraska at Iowa. And I think that would be a very good contest. We'll see. What's your thinking about that game coming up this weekend? Nebraska over at Iowa.
The Iowa's strength is really their offense, and they're going to go against a very good defense. I mean, Nebraska, ever since they've acquired Ezzy Obiora back when he was on the short-term IR, when he came back, and our game was their first game with him, he brought an immediate presence, and he really is the difference maker for them, and he's playing extremely well, and they're playing very well around him. I just think Nebraska, as long as they if their quarterback can just take care of the ball, he's going to create, he's going to make plays. Their defense, I think, is going to be tough for Iowa's offensive line to handle.
Well, Coach, when we come back, we'll be talking about the game down in Cedar Falls, where the Sioux Falls Storm was victorious 46-21. We'll talk about that game, have some highlights, so stay tuned, folks. And stay tuned, stay with us, Coach. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to this segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs.
Possibility. From starting a family to starting a business. Everywhere there's possibility, there's Premier. Believe in possibility. First Premier Bank.
Your body is a complex arrangement of bone and tissue that requires only the best to maintain it. At Orthopedic Institute, that's our specialty. Our services have been specifically tailored to provide the best orthopedic care in the region. Orthopedics is what we do. That's why Orthopedic Institute is the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
Possibility. From starting a family to starting a business. Everywhere there's possibility, there's Premier. Believe in possibility. First Premier Bank.
If you like to bowl, roll on into Eastway Bowl. Hey, wait a minute. Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full-of-fun entertainment center. There's many things to do. Games, and more games, plus food. Great food. Come into our full-service sports bar and grill where you'll find terrific drinks with our popular late-night specials. Watch all your favorite sporting events at Eastway. Visit our website to make your bowling reservations and find out more about the full fun experience. Eastway Bowl and Entertainment Center, where there's something for everyone.
Dependability and value by saving up to 50% in energy cost. Call Waterbury Heating and Cooling at 338-2692 when emergency strikes, and know that they will be there for you even at the most inconvenient hour.
A mix of light rain, light freezing rain, light sleet, and light snow this evening, then turning partly cloudy overnight, a low of 26, just a light northwest breeze. Tomorrow, lots of sun after some morning fog burns off with a high of 54, just a light breeze. Increasing clouds tomorrow night, a low of 41, then light rain likely on Wednesday and a high of 59. From the KSFY TV Severe Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Phil Schreck.
You're listening to the Kurtis Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtis Riggs Show. And the game recap and the highlights is brought to you by Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge of Sioux Falls. And they are the official Storm away game viewing party hosts. And when you're out there, take advantage of the $1 off Bud and Bud Light taps and pizza specials and register for a chance for a great and exciting prize every game. Thanks to our friends at Budweiser and Beal Distributing. It's more fun to watch Storm football with friends. And the next viewing party is going to be on Saturday, the 22nd, when the Storm travel to Green Bay to face the Blizzard. And he is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtis Riggs. Coach, you get the win down in Cedar Rapids, 46-21. But interestingly, it started off with 3 field goals. Tell us about this game and in your overall thoughts.
But, you know, it's kind of deceiving. I mean, it's one of those games we jump out 23-0, and offensively, I don't think we could have played, any more poorly. And we did a good job moving the ball, but we could not finish our drives, and that's usually what we're very good at. But defense came out, played. They got us the ball in great field position, got some turnovers immediately, got a score. And so then I felt like we kind of went in cruise control after that. And we didn't play very well offensively, I think, throughout the game. I felt like a lot of our veteran guys especially had one of their worst games in quite some time. And I thought we did some good things defensively, though. I thought we had a couple long passes we gave up, but for the most part, our back end, our secondary, I thought they're really doing a nice job communicating. I thought Tyler Knight had one of his best games. And so it's one where you feel like, yeah, we had a slide where we came off the bye week after playing 2 great games, and we didn't play great. We didn't, which is good and bad. Good because we've got a lot of things that wake the guys up. In film today, they'll be like, ooh, yeah, that was terrible. And the coaches will point it out, too. I mean, we're not going to let anything go by, and we definitely can be better, and we need to be better. Because if we played that way, Rich, against some of the other teams, we would lose. It would be a dogfight, and we need to get back to where we were playing against Wichita and Iowa, and I think we can even be better than that.
You know, when I think about this game, and as I was calling it, it just did not seem like there was any rhythm to the game down in Cedar Rapids Saturday night.
Yeah, you know, it's tough, and I agree with you, because I think rhythm is when you move the ball and you finish the drive, and it was like good play, bad play, good play. I mean, and that's just kind of how the whole game seemed like it was. And I think it started off even before the kickoff. The place was so empty. You know, Mike Tatum is yelling to the fans, hey, come on, go ahead and move down. There's no one in those seats in the 20 rows in front of you. And it was a stagnant crowd. It was quiet, and it was one that was kind of hard to get excited about. But the guys got to remember, every time that people are watching, they have a chance to step on the field and play football. There's many people that dream of that opportunity, so don't take it for granted.
Also, that there was a time we had a long delay because play into the boards actually broke the dasher board, and it took quite a while for that to get fixed, because they certainly can't play while it was in its broken state. And, you know, that kind of takes the rhythm out of a game. So there were several things that happened during the course of the game that it just seemed to be a little bit herky-jerky, but you prevailed in that contest, 46-21. I have just 3 highlights, and here's our first one. And the Titans will have the ball, first down and 10, 3:47 to play in this first quarter. Jamiel Jones to the left of Brian Carnes, a quarterback, 2 in motion to the left side. Back to pass, Carnes with time, fires it across the middle, intercepted by the Sioux Falls Storm, Elijah Fields. And he got it and tackled pretty much immediately at about the 24-yard line of the Cedar Rapids Titans. Elijah Fields comes up with his second interception of the year. For the night, the Sioux Falls Storm had 3 interceptions. Fields had 2. Hermanson had 1 interception. You also had a fumble recovery in the end zone. Your defense, again, has played stalwart defense. You know, 21 points. You're only allowing about 22 points per game. Your defense just playing outstanding.
You know, I agree with a lot of that, Rich, but I don't think they're playing to their full potential yet. I still think we can be better. And I think Coach Hermanson feels the same way. I think, you know, we had a couple glaring mistakes that shouldn't have happened, but more so, I don't think we're playing to our potential up front. I think, you know, we can be better up front. We have some very gifted athletes on the defensive line, and we're not getting their full potential. I mean, we're seeing it in flashes, but it's not on a consistent basis. And I think once we get to that point, I think we could be a really, really good defense, which says a lot because of what they're doing right now.
As of right now, they're number 1 in the IFL, allowing 23 points a ball game. Number 1 in the IFL turnover margin. You're plus 14, which is 10 more than the number 2 team that has 4, and that's Nebraska. So there's, you know, statistics that really show that they're really playing outstanding. But like you said, even with the talent on the field, they're not playing up to it at times.
Yeah, I think scheme-wise, we're doing some great things. I think we're doing a very good job communicating. We're doing a very good job not panicking. but I just don't think we're getting the full effort from guys at times. And it's on a pretty consistent basis, which is discouraging. And I think it's something, we'll keep working at, and we'll find a way to get that, because I know as a coaching staff, we really feel like we can we can improve, and that's kind of scary.
Here's our next highlight. Servatka puts up the field goal. It is up, and it is good. And Servatka hits his 6th field goal of the night, and the Sioux Falls Storm extend their lead 46-15. Servatka on the night, 6 of 7 field goals. He was 4 for 4 point after touchdowns. He had 22 points on the night. He is the number 1 scorer on the Storm team with 61 points. Number 1 in the IFL with PAT percentage, almost 90%. He's number 2 in field goals made. He's made 9 of 15 at 60%. The Storm over the years has really enjoyed having some great kickers, and Justin Servatka is right up there with them.
Yeah, and we don't ask a lot usually of Justin, because usually we go for it. But there's always a game like this. There's a game where not everything's going to be clicking offensively. Sometimes the defense is going to be doing some very good things, and you're going to have to rely on your kicker. And it's great to know when we need to do that, Justin's there. And the thing, fans don't realize, he still has not been able to practice with goalposts.
Uh-huh.
He hasn't been able to kick at goalposts all season. So everything we've been doing has been just him kicking into a net, and really no practice in the Premier Center or any facility that has goalposts. So as he's able to get some practice time and some goalposts, I would expect him to just get better and better.
Yeah, basically his time with the goalpost is in your walkthrough.
That's it. Yeah, and on the walkthrough, you usually don't kick at all, because we don't want his leg being tired, and so he's able to.
Well, just the warm up basically is what I'm talking about. Is right there before they go on the field.
Yeah, just the warm up's really the only time he's able to get any kicking in on the field.
One thing I didn't run this highlight, but one of those was a rough snap coming back, and Lorenzo Brown did a great job in placing it. But I had to almost kind of laugh, because you could just see and froze and got his composure so that he was able to kick the field goal. And that just shows great concentration on the kicker and also the holder to be able to complete that play.
Yeah, we've got a pretty solid group up, with Matt Hermanson snapping, Zoe, Holden, and Justin too. And I know Justin's probably disappointed he missed that last one, but he really had a great night. It's really reassuring when you're physically getting pushed around and not able to get in the end zone, to even have to sit there and think about, we can just get a field goal here.
Yeah.
And it's all components. Your defense is playing great. Hey, 3 points is a lot right now for Cedar Rapids. Just go ahead and take that. Defense is going to get the ball back. And your kicker's going to go out and make it too.
Talking to Storm head coach Kurtis Riggs on the Kurtis Riggs Show, and here's our last highlight.
And now Robbie Rouse is going to be to the right of Lorenzo Brown, shotgun formation. 2 deep on the right side is going to be Tatum and German. Both go in motion to the right slot. Williams split outside. Back to pass. Brown throws, end zone, caught! Diving into the end zone for the touchdown was Melvin German. Touchdown, Sioux Falls Storm.
Melvin German on the night, 4 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. For the year, he has 16 receptions, 230 yards, and 4 TDs. And your offense, again, uses the run very effectively. Zoe got a couple rushing touchdowns, but that was a nice catch by Melvin German.
It was a great catch, and that's never been an issue for Melvin. He has terrific hands, and he is very good. If people are able to watch, really have your kids watch how well Melvin will reach out and get the ball. He is so good at using his hands to catch the ball, whereas a lot will try to trap on their body.
Uh-huh.
Melvin is really, really good at reaching out, getting the ball with his hands, using his hands to catch the ball. We still haven't got Melvin, though, to where he's a complete receiver, and we'll keep working with him, but he does do a very good job on that element of his game.
Melvin and Elijah both will be on the Kurtiss Riggs Show a little bit later on in the program. Any other final comments about the Storm's win down in Cedar Rapids, 46-21?
No, I think it'll be a great film session for the guys tonight. It'll be an eye-opening experience when they get their grade sheets, but it's always a humbling one, and I think we have a group that takes it, gets motivated by it, and you'll see a rejuvenated force when we play Green Bay.
No doubt about it. Well, we'll talk to you about the Green Bay Blizzard a little bit later on in the show. So, Coach, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Rich.
He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs, and you've been listening to this segment brought to you by Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge, the official viewing party of Storm away games, and the next viewing party is on Saturday, April 22nd, when the Storm travel up to Green Bay to take on the Blizzard. Coming up next, Elijah Fields, defensive back with the Sioux Falls Storm, and you're listening to it right here on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN.
If you haven't been to Eastway Sports Lounge and Grill lately,
breathe easier when you have your ducts cleaned by Waterbury. Call us today. Routine services can save you money in the long run. Call Waterbury to schedule yours today.
As the weather changes, so do your plans for the hour, the day, and the week. You can expect the KSFY Severe Weather Team to bring you the most accurate forecasts, giving you early warnings when the weather gets rough and how long the storms last. With over 50 years of combined experience, you can expect more with the KSFY Severe Weather Team.
Possibility. From starting a family to starting a business. Everywhere there's possibility, there's Premier. Believe in possibility. First Premier Bank.
Your body is a complex arrangement of bone and tissue that requires only the best to maintain it. At Orthopedic Institute, that's our specialty. Our services have been specifically tailored to provide the best orthopedic care in the region. Orthopedics is what we do. That's why Orthopedic Institute is the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And after the interview, we'll take your third call at 336-1230 for free tickets for the game this Saturday when the Storm hosts the Green Bay Blizzard. And joining us via the fan line, safety with the Sioux Falls Storm, Elijah Fields. Elijah, thanks for being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show.
How you doing, Rich? Thanks for having me.
Well, great. How long have you been with the Storm now, Elijah?
This will be my third season.
Third year. It doesn't seem possible it's been that long already. You know, when you think about coming here, you had also played indoor football. You had played for the Green Bay Blizzard and actually were their defensive MVP, I think, up in 13 before you got here. So you're no stranger to indoor football when you came to Sioux Falls, were you?
Right. I was no stranger. I knew of the Storm very well. Lost to them a few times.
Uh-huh.
And after that season, I ended up getting traded here to Sioux Falls. But I sat 2014 out, and then I came back in 2015.
Okay. So you have become a very good safety, and for the season, you've got 12.5 tackles, you got 3 interceptions, you have a broken pass. How are you playing smarter now than you did a few years ago?
I would say the difference now is I'm more familiar with the game now, so I know the ins and outs. So I would say I'm more mentally prepared than I was a couple years ago.
Uh-huh. But, you've gone through this year. You missed a game because of an injury. How tough is that for you to sit on the sidelines when you got your buddies out on the field?
It's very tough to sit on the sidelines. Rich, I'm a competitor, so, I like to play in every game I can.
But I could tell that even when you were on the bench, you were out on the field, cheering your guys on and, talking to them, going over coverages and things like that. You stay in the game, and I think that's one of the things that's important. Sometimes when guys get hurt, they just mope around and they don't do anything, but you're still very much a part of the team, aren't you?
Yeah, you got to be there to, to help your teammates out and, let them know what you're seeing out there and what they can do better, things like that.
Now, you played out at Pitt, did you not?
Yes, sir.
And you played for Coach Wanstead out there. Tell us a little bit about your time playing for Pitt.
It was a nice time playing for Pitt. It was good because I was from the city of Pittsburgh. I was a hometown kid. It was all a great experience, And I think looking at it now, I wish I could have took more of a advantage of it on it, but things happen.
We're talking with Elijah. We're talking with Elijah Fields on the Kurtis Riggs Show. Go ahead.
No, I got nothing but good things to say about Pitt. It's a great university, and I think they'll do good here coming up.
Well, the one thing about it is when you get to the age that you are now, even you look back those 5-6 years ago when you were playing there, there's a lot of maturity that happens from the time that you're 18 until you're 25. And you look back and you think, boy, there's a lot of things maybe I should have done different.
Yeah. I mean, once you get older, you would look back like, man, I was young. I was immature, made some mistakes. But, I think it really makes you a better person, a stronger person. And, I think it'll help you in the long run.
Well, that's one of the things about maturity is that it sometimes comes up with some hard knocks, but you're a better person for it. And now you are receiving some of those fruits, aren't you, being able to play with the Sioux Falls Storm and use what you've learned and also to be playing at such a high level on a very, very good team.
Yes, it's a blessing, Rich. Being able to do something you love to do still, play at a high level and win games, it's like a dream come true, honestly.
What would be your dream job, your dream career after you get done playing football?
I would love to get into the coaching field and start coaching. I think that's what I want to do. So I think being a coach would be my dream job.
Uh-huh. Chances are you probably coach in the defensive secondary, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Elijah, I appreciate everything that you do on the field, but I also appreciate you, the man, because you're a great guy to travel with and a great representation, a great ambassador for the Sioux Falls Storm, and I really appreciate everything that you do for them.
Oh, thank you, Rich, man. I appreciate you guys, too. It's a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much, Elijah. We'll see you Saturday as you take on your old teammates.
Okay, Rich. Thanks.
Elijah Fields, defensive safety with the Sioux Falls Storm. And when we go off the air, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230. 4 free tickets for the game coming up on Saturday against the Green Bay Blizzard. And this is the Kurtis Riggs Show right here on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN.
Hey there.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. We keep you moving.
If you like to bowl, roll on into Eastway Bowl. Hey, wait a minute. Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full of fun entertainment center. There's many things to do. Games, and more games, plus food. Great food. Come into our full-service sports bar and grill where you'll find terrific drinks with our popular late night specials. Watch all your favorite sporting events at Eastway. Visit our website to make your bowling reservations and find out more about the full fun experience. Eastway Bowl and Entertainment Center, where there's something for everyone.
Possibility. From starting a family to starting a business. Everywhere there's possibility, there's Premier. Believe in possibility. First Premier Bank.
Your body is a complex arrangement of bone and tissue that requires only the best to maintain it. At Orthopedic Institute, that's our specialty. Our services have been specifically tailored to provide the best orthopedic care in the region. Orthopedics is what we do. That's why Orthopedic Institute is the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtis Riggs Show. And when we go to commercial after our interview with Melvin German, we'll be taking your third call at 336-1230 for free tickets to the game coming up this Saturday against the Green Bay Blizzard. And joining us via the fan line, wide receiver, possible quarterback, with the Sioux Falls Storm, Melvin German. Melvin, thanks for being on the Kurtis Riggs Show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I wanted to let folks get to know you a little bit, and that's why I had you on the Kurtis Riggs Show. This is actually your second year with the Storm, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and where you went to college.
I grew up in Fort Myers, Florida, and I went to junior college at Pearl River, Mississippi, and earned a scholarship at the University of Florida Atlantic University. I played there, and then my last year I transferred to Slippery Rock University.
Okay, at Slippery Rock, okay. But one of your highlights that you had written down on your information sheet was that your first college game after you had transferred to Florida Atlantic was against one of your favorite colleges, and who was that?
The University of Miami.
Miami. Was that down there in Miami?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I can't imagine what it was like running out to that crowd.
Yeah, it was a pretty big crowd. A lot of the guys on our team was from South Florida, so we had, our crowd and then theirs as well. So, it was pretty sold out. So
did you get to play in that game?
Yeah, I played in that game. That week, I was actually starting at quarterback and hurt my arm and switched to receiver that Monday. So I had never played receiver before. So I had a week at receiver and actually played in that game at receiver and led the team in reception, receiving yards and catches.
Oh, my, that's amazing, because you had been playing the quarterback and you got hurt, and then you wound up stepping into the role. And you've been pretty much a receiver ever since, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
One of the things... What's that?
I said, yes, sir. I fell in love with receiver.
Well, one thing about it, you don't have as many 350-pounders chasing you downfield when you're on pass routes.
Nah. No.
Well, I tell you what, we're talking to Melvin German, wide receiver with the Sioux Falls Storm. And earlier in the program, Coach Riggs talked about your use of your hands as far as how you catch a pass. In fact, I played the highlight of your touchdown reception down in Cedar Rapids. And that's something that Coach really talked about. Tell us about, being that you were a quarterback, how did you develop using your hands so well, being that you hadn't had those training skills early in your career?
I just think it was just me playing shotgun pretty much all my life, getting the snap from the center and shotgun, just focusing on the ball, and it kind of carried over and helped me at receiver. So it was nothing I really practiced at. I always had a touch for the ball. I guess that's pretty much how I learned how to catch.
And also, you watch it into your hands, don't you?
Yeah, yes, I focus. I kind of keep my eyes on it. And I was always taught that. That was one of the things I was taught at quarterback as well. You know, the play don't start till the ball hits your hands. So I kind of stuck with that, and you know.
So how has it been for you learning to play inside the wall of indoor football?
I mean, it's a new position for me. I mean, as far as receiver, nothing really changed. I run a couple new routes, and just adjusting to the size of the field, and it actually helps me more to become a quicker receiver because this game is so fast. And you know, it just took me a little while and kind of got it together.
Well, for the year, you have 16 receptions, you have 230 yards, you have 4 receiving touchdowns, and one of the things that you also are required to do is to block downfield. How has that been for you in the learning process?
Oh, it's been fun. It's been fun. Just helping Robbie, knowing Robbie and Joe, knowing they'll make it. For some way they'll make it downfield, and I just know I gotta always stay on my man because with those guys, you know, they always tend to break tackles and you know, break out. So it's been fun though. It's been fun.
Well, I tell you what, Melvin, it's been great to watch you play with the Sioux Falls Storm. You wear number 18.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the field coming up on Saturday as you take on the Green Bay Blizzard with the Sioux Falls Storm.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm part of this team.
Well, you're a great guy, Melvin. Appreciate everything, and we'll talk to you on Saturday.
All right, thanks.
Melvin German, wide receiver, possible backup quarterback if the need arose for the Sioux Falls Storm. And when we go to break, we'll take your third call at 336-1230. 4 free tickets for the game coming up on Saturday against the Green Bay Blizzard. And this is the Kurtis Riggs Show right here on 98.1 1230. Sports Radio, KWSN.
The Sheridan Sioux Falls is proud to serve as the official host.
Success in business is about growing your bottom line. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this: increase revenue and decrease spending. This is where we come in. At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will optimize your print environment, reducing your total printing costs while improving workflow. Managed print services will impact your bottom line. MPS, it's just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save.
As the weather changes, so do your plans for the hour, the day, and the week. You can expect the KSFY Severe Weather Team to bring you the most accurate forecasts, giving you early warnings when the weather gets rough and how long the storms last. With over 50 years of combined experience, you can expect more with the KSFY Severe Weather Team.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. We keep you moving.
You're listening to the Kurtis Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtis Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. And they're on 917 South Cliff Avenue. Sliced fresh, baked fresh, made fresh. Come see what fresh really is Again, 917 South Cliff Avenue. That's Good Sense Deli, fresh subs. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtis Riggs. Coach, Green Bay Blizzard coming to town. They are 2-5, but they have 4 of their losses by 4 points or less. Give us a scouting report about the Blizzard, please.
Yeah, very competitive. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Is it's a team that just hasn't learned yet how to get a win, and those are scary teams. They play hard. They play with a lot of emotion. I think Coach Williams does a nice job, but they just haven't been able to finish yet consistently. And the quarterback's always scary because he scrambles very well, but he scrambles to buy time. And so that's what becomes really difficult because you really got to lock on the back end. And you can't just, as the kid takes off and runs, you can't attack. You've got to stay with your guy. And those are always tough ones because they're going to hit big plays, and that's what we got to try to avoid.
Now, Matt Barrett is the quarterback for the Green Bay Blizzard, and I was looking at the statistics of the game that they had against the Iowa Barnstormers this past week, where they were defeated by a point, 27-26. Was Matt Barrett the quarterback in that game?
Statistically, I saw the same thing, that he didn't play. I have not watched their offense. I've only watched their defense. I'll have to look or talk to Coach Hermanson and see. But I saw the same thing in the stats. I don't know. So who knows? We'll prepare, though, as if he is in either way. So.
Jared Evans was the quarterback of record in that game, but sometimes numbers are miscalculated as far as the statistics crew, and it just winds up getting re-entered the whole time. And so it could have been just a typo as far as that's concerned. But Jared Evans was the quarterback of record. And, when you talk about the Green Bay, they don't give up a whole lot of points. Their defense really seems to be fairly salty, aren't they?
Yeah, I think, they're pretty good up front. They got some pretty good DNs. They're going to try to create pressure, and they're going to try to lock up man-to-man on you and force you to make a mistake. So, we've got to make sure, Lorenzo especially, that he knows exactly what's going on, what look he's getting, and who's his primary and secondary reads with each formation that we come out in.
Who's their really key defensive player that you really have to take a look at?
I don't think they have a key guy. I mean, there's not a guy, like Wichita Falls. I mean, you focus on their
nose guard,
middle. Yeah, you go on the middle, really. It's not just the nose. It's the Francis kid, I think, too, the linebacker. Yeah. I think the two of them in the middle of their defense, you got to really be cautious and guarded on how you try to go at them. I think Green Bay as a whole, they're just going to try to fly around is what they're going to do. They're going to try to just create havoc. They're going to try to get to the ball. They're going to try to make you make mistakes. And so we just have to be efficient, and we've got to be more physical than we were in the Cedar game. We've got to get back to how we were those 2 games before the bye week. And we were really a physical team. And if we're going to win a lot of games, that's how we have to play.
Well, one thing that I thought was quite interesting, I looked at their statistics. Green Bay has been drawing pretty well up there. They've been averaging over 5,000 fans up in Green Bay. And so we're going to be going up there a week from this Saturday to play them up there. And it's going to be great to see that place full of fans again.
Yeah, I was asking the officiating crew that did our Cedar game. They've done some games in Green Bay, and they said, the crowds have been really good there. So that's great. You love hearing that. And we're excited to go out there and play. I think it's a great place to play. It's cool being across the street from, Lambeau Field. And but first thing, we've got to take care of business here at our place and make sure we don't look past this one.
Well, Coach, we'll talk to you on Saturday prior to the game, and my best to you for that ball game coming up on Saturday night.
All right. Thanks, Rich.
He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtis Riggs. And coming up next, we'll have a conversation with Jim Loria. And you're listening to the Kurtis Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli, fresh subs, 917 South Cliff Avenue here in Sioux Falls. And coming up next, Jim Loria, right here on The Kurtis Riggs Show at 98.1 1230 Sports Radio KWSN.
When people think of Uncle Ed's specialty meats, what comes to mind is their 40 different flavors of brats and sausages, like Philly cheesesteak and taco, to name a couple, or their choice of Black Canyon Angus steaks, or maybe their ability to cater any event no matter how large or small. What may not come to mind is their incredible wood-roasted prime rib, hot and ready to go every Friday from 4 to 7. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., 1 mile east of Walmart on East 10th. Stop out and get educated.
At Midwest Family Care, we know your healthcare needs.
Success in business is about growing your bottom line. Now, there are two ways you can do this: increase revenue and decrease spending. This is where we come in. At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will optimize your print environment, reducing your total printing costs while improving workflow. Managed print services will impact your bottom line. MPS, it's just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save. Ever wonder how much money your company spends on printing? Ever wonder how much time your employees spend ordering toner cartridges and repairing jammed machines? At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will analyze your print environment and design a program to reduce your total printing costs, improving workflow. A few small changes can make a big difference. MPS, just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save.
Breathe easier when you have your ducts cleaned by Waterbury. Call us today. Routine services can save you money in the long run. Call Waterbury to schedule yours today.
You're listening to the Kurtis Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1 1230 Sports Radio KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back for our final segment of the Kurtis Riggs Show. This is brought to you by Boyer Trucks, celebrating our 90th year for sales parts service. We keep you going. That's Boyer Trucks. And if you don't have a chance to listen to the Kurtis Riggs Show, you can always go to the Storm website, SiouxFallsStorm.com, and you can watch the Kurtis Riggs Show. We video it, all courtesy of Boyer Trucks. He is the Director of Corporate Partnerships with the Sioux Falls Storm, Jim Loria. Jim, big game coming up this weekend for the Storm, but big for you in many other ways. Tell us about those.
Well, we've got, typically we've been doing a fundraiser, a game, as you know, and this one here has got a very special, meaning to the franchise. We've had a long-time partnership with the Fonder Sewing people over on Western Avenue and 41st, and Mary Reiser, who's been a long-time CEO for 40 years. It's been a company owned since 1943, so it's got deep roots, here in Sioux Falls. And Mary's battling cancer. It's been a real tough go. She's up in New York at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and had a bone marrow transplant back in January. So it's been a tough go, but she's doing well, and we wanted to help her out. So we're doing a fundraiser in her honor. So if there's anybody, with ties to the store from customers or taking classes and you'd like to participate and help us, let us know. They can reach out through you, I guess, or email me as well. And so we're going to have a big fundraiser Saturday coming up for her. So that'll be, from my end, that'll be the big focus coming up Saturday.
This is one of many different promotions that you have, not necessarily promotions, but fundraisers that you've had. And Jim, do you have any idea over the last 3 years how much money the Sioux Falls Storm has put back into the community through these types of efforts?
Well, the first 2 years, it was about 135, 125, about 260,000 in the first 2 years money raised. Like the last game, as you remember, with the school district, with the Night of Hope and Caring, that one raised $26,450. That's going to go back to the school. So I know they were ecstatic about that. And we're it's a big thing, I think, with the ownership of the Storm. It's been a commitment to really being a good teammate, to Sioux Falls. There's so many things that we can help people with. Hey, speaking of that, if you don't mind me saying this, coming up, April 25th, for example, we're doing as an extension to what we do in the community for the schools. There's two things that are going to happen. One of them is a family bingo event we've never done before. We're going to be at Burnside Bingo on Tuesday, the 25th of April. So if there's anybody that would like to be part of it, we're going to have some players, some cheerleaders there. Again, Burnside Bingo, thanks to them, they're going to donate a portion of every dollar raised at that event. It's going to go back to the school functions that we were helping about a week and a half ago. So there's that, and then we had a Teacher of the Year contest. It was held during the months of January and February. Dakota Bank was wonderful to sponsor this for us, and so $1,000 is going to be giving away. There's 3 winners. They've been already picked through entries that were submitted by whether it was a student, a friend, a family, and we have 3 teachers that were selected. So this Saturday, actually, we'll have a ceremony on the field where one teacher is going to win $500, one for $300, and one for $200. And that's all part of the Taken by Storm Fund. When people hear us fundraising, to help support the Taken by Storm Fund, it does a lot of things, Rich. I mean, it helps a lot of causes, a lot of people, and this is just a small example of what it does.
Well, not only that, coming up on Saturday is the Junior Storm Trooper Camp, and that's going to be coming up on Saturday. We talked about that last week. So there's always something going on with the Sioux Falls Storm at their game, and this week the Sioux Falls Storm going to be hosting the Green Bay Blizzard. Kickoff is at 7:05, and we'll have the pregame show right here on KWSN at 6:45. Jim, thank you for everything that you do, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Thanks, Rich. I appreciate it.
Jim Loria, Director of Corporate Partnerships with the Sioux Falls Storm. Now, when we go off the air, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230 for 4 free tickets, courtesy of Wingstop, and that's for the game coming up this Saturday against the Green Bay Blizzard. Want to thank all of our guests, Elijah Fields and Melvin German, Jim Loria, and, of course, the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtis Riggs. Now, the Kurtis Riggs Show is brought to you each and every week by the official Storm sports medicine providers, Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital, the Storm official healthcare team, and the only 5-star rated hospital in Sioux Falls, and by Orthopedic Institute, the one to trust. Coming up on Saturday, we have the Storm game right here on KWSN 645. Chad Gamarco and I'll have the call for you. Want to thank John Michaels, our KWSN studio producer and engineer, and along with you, our listening audience, for making us a part of your day. And you've been listening to the Kurtis Riggs Show right here on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio KWSN. Have a great evening, everybody. Talk to you again next week.